maybe because you hit that fascination, and you tapped into that fascination so deeply, it broadened the perspective of being a profound experience. Bro. Vice versa, you didn't hit a profound experience because you were obsessive and chasing something that's not there. 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
We're biggity back.
I'll do the intro this time because it just felt like I should.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, so welcome back to wait, how do you fucking do this?
What's this podcast called?
Yeah, where the fuck are we?
Oh, we don't exist.
Well, I was kind of like, where are we? Because we don't exist. But anyways, yeah, we're tired, so we're just gonna lay back. It'll be nice. It'll be a nice little chill episode. And we also just want to get into it. So no story this time. I'm sorry. If you look forward to the story. If you don't, then you win. So we starting with the obsessive one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So is being obsessive about someone or something a good thing? Have any initial thoughts or?
Yeah. The way I'm receiving this is the way I'm receiving what this question is trying to pose, I guess, or proposes, that being obsessed with someone can mean two things, where it's like you obsessively love them or you're obsessively needy for them. That's how I see this. But it could also be, someone you also look up to. You could be obsessive in what image they're setting and what legacy they're leaving behind. You could be obsessive on those things.
Can you paint me like a picture of someone who's obsessed with an image or legacy that someone's setting?
Okay, so example, there's this guy, Gary V. And Gary Vaynerchuk, he's very enthusiastic, very motivative, and very driven. And you can see that someone has like planted a seed in him where he looks up to people who looks up to people who have given him that seed and give him that drive and that full, just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna go after what I want. And so I guess it's not necessarily you're being obsessed with someone, but you're being obsessed with what they're leaving behind, their message, essentially. And if that makes any sense.
It's not sticking. Because I don't see that as an obsession. I just see it as like mirroring or like, heavy admiration. But like, I feel like obsession's defined by heavily dwelling on something, or like continually going back to it within your thought process. Like when I think of obsessing over something, I think of like, you think about it, then you think about it again, and you're thinking about all these different versions of it, or these different angles of it, or these different aspects of it, or maybe you're not even thinking about differences within it. Maybe you're just thinking about the same thing over and over again. Like if you're obsessed over like a car, like for me, I would say that like there's a slight obsession with I have a slight obsession with my car. So like when I'm at work, I park my car in two different spots in the shade where I can see it.
Yeah.
And every single time I can look at my car, I do.
Oh shit.
I'll be walking by the window and I'll just look and I'll look, and sometimes I'll fucking stare at my car and then I'll be like, well, I got work to do.
Yeah.
But I just fucking like my car. Like I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with it, but I really fucking like it. And so, but I would say that that's like an obsessive behavior. The fact that like I'll look at it over and over and over again in the same day, and it's like, okay, it's not that I'm worried about it getting broken into or like getting stolen. So it's like, it's also not going to change. Like, it's not going to like turn green someday and then like going to be like a fucking Hummer someday, right? It's just, it's going to be the same fucking car and it's going to look the same every single day.
Well, that's interesting because I'm the same way, but towards myself when I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because
you can obsess over yourself too.
I obsess over myself. I admire
or aspects of yourself.
Right. Like I acknowledge that I'm a good looking guy. I'm not saying I'm the greatest looking guy, but I think I'm good looking. And there's times where I'm like, oh damn, like who's that in the mirror? Like shit, that's me. You know what I mean? And like I'll catch myself doing this multiple times throughout the day, like in the mirror or in the shower and everything. And I guess you could say it's like a mild obsession. And but see, that word obsession kind of like has this derogative meaning to it, where I see it as like someone who's just obsessed with someone that they can't have. Like that I see it like as a someone who's just like, oh my gosh, that person. Like take a fan girl for Justin Bieber. They're obsessed with Justin Bieber.
I definitely get what you're saying. I'm trying to decide if that. I'm trying to think of examples of where people are obsessed about things that they can have or things that they do have. And I guess because I was thinking of like the example with my car, and I'm like, well, one could argue, well, you have your car, but you're still obsessed with it. But it's like, okay, well, I'm usually obsessed with it when I can't drive it or touch it. It's usually because I'm like out work and like I can't just go fucking. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about it because I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know if you could be obsessive about someone that you do have, or someone that you have, essentially. Like, I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking, this is okay. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, yeah. So obsession. I have a lot of thoughts about it. My main one is I was talking to a friend earlier, and we were talking about obsession. He was talking about his obsession with like, his obsession with his ex.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it was yeah, and like he would continually dwell on her for extended periods of time, and obviously if it's your ex and you're obsessed with them, probably not good dwelling. It's probably bad dwelling.
Yeah.
And so, and some of it was jealousy, some of it was like regret, whatever. Actually, I'm not sure if it was that much regret, but. And so when I really like, we were talking about it, and we talked about it like multiple times over the course of like, I don't know, a month or two, and over a month or two actually. Anyways, we came to the conclusion that his obsession was like the root of his obsession was his desire for control over, and this is a topic that obviously we touch over a lot, but his desire for control kind of over her, but like, so like one thing that he'd be obsessed with is like, whenever she was talking to another guy, he would start to become a little bit obsessive and like would want to like check, and like one of his obsessions is seeing if she's talking to other guys. And it's like, well, why would he, what does that do? Like, he's not dating her. He's not worried about her cheating on him. So it's like, why does he care that she's talking to other guys? And it's like, yeah, you could just say like, well, he's jealous. But it's like, well, he's checking if she's talking to other guys. He's not checking on a guy that she's already talking to. She's not even talking to other guys yet, kind of. And he's still checking. But the obsession comes from this weird part of his mind that, for whatever reason, believes that as long as he knows that no other guys are talking to her, then like he can relax. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's like this sense of comfort within knowing that you don't have to worry about someone potentially leaving you or potentially being better at you than something.
Yeah.
Or in a vague term or a very simple term, just destroying your ego, essentially.
Yeah. No, and you know what's crazy? You don't even know the situation, but you just taught me something about it, because I know it, but I didn't think of it. I didn't connect the dots. One of his big worries or like concerns with her, as well as like other scenarios, is like not knowing if I'm getting kind of in depth now, and I'm wondering like, fuck, am I going too far? I don't know. Okay. Fuck it. I'm just gonna say it, and we'll see. I don't even think he watches. It's not that I'm hiding him. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So one of his big things as well is one of his big insecurities is failing with like female partners, and like not feeling confident that he's like, I mean, like in a general sense, and I'm not doing it perfect justice, but wondering if he's like lovable, wondering if he's like the kind of person who can like who a woman could like really enjoy. And he got fucked over by his ex. But the point that I'm getting to is that, a big point of like stress is like him having an insecurity with like whether or not, like, if he sees another guy succeeding with a woman that he failed with, that's going to hit him really hard, because he's going to be thinking that like, the reason why we're not together is because I'm not good enough. Right. And so the need for control comes from not confirming that belief. Because if he can make sure that she's not talking to another guy, then the reality that he's not good enough never has to set in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, how bad does it feel if you break up with a chick and then she like doesn't talk to any fucking guys for 2 years? It doesn't feel that bad.
No,
it's like,
it doesn't.
Oh damn, she must be fucked up over it because she really liked me.
Yeah.
If she starts talking to guys immediately after, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, oh damn, well, I must not have mattered. And so the control comes from not wanting to confirm that fear.
Right. And it's that destroying that ego, right?
Yeah.
This is part of the major jealousy and obsessive process. You have to understand that these are behaviors. Obsessive behavior is a behavior in which you are obsessing over this, I guess you could say this fear. I mean, yeah, I would say that is definitely one form of obsession. The obsession that we're talking about, yeah, right, exactly. For example, for the obsession that we were talking about, you're obsessing over this fear because it just stresses you out, the potential truth that you kind of already know.
Exactly. It's a hunch that you fear. It's a hunch that you fear might be true.
Yes.
And the fear that it might be true comes from the fact that you kind of already think it and believe it, but you know that there's a chance that it might not be true, and so you don't want to accept it.
Yeah.
And, we go full circle into all of the fucking Zen yogi shit, acceptance, releasing control, etc., etc. But, it's exactly that. You don't have to accept something if you don't know that it's 100% true. And if you don't know that, and so to procrastinate or prolong or postpone the acceptance process, you continue to find evidence that it's not true. And so, and so you were talking about how it's a behavior.
Yeah.
And we've talked about habits on the show before.
Right.
Habits are really interesting. Often habitual behaviors, how we form habits is by succeeding, right? When you do something and it works, your brain's like, okay, check, that works.
Yeah.
And then next time that problem arises, well, let's try this. It worked last time.
For example, I read a book on habits, and it was basically saying the first steps is a cue. So there's something that signals,
Yep, there
and
is.
it could be emotional, time, physical, whatever. It's some sort of notification, a cue, and then
a trigger. There's always a trigger.
It's a trigger, and then the action, and then the reward.
Yeah,
so exactly. The action is the habit themselves.
It's
and
literally
reward,
a training. It's like a dog.
Exactly, and because Pavlov's dog, which I
have no idea what that is.
He's I think he was a psychologist who basically discovered about habits through what he did was he had a dog, and he would ring a bell, and then he would put food out into the kennel or into the cage, wherever the dog was, and he would eat. And so he kept doing this, ring the bell, food, eat, ring the bell, food, eat. And it came to the point where every time he rang the bell, the dog's mouth would salivate.
Start watering
because it's expecting. And so that's called Pavlov's dog. I think he was like a Russian guy. His name was like Pavlov. So he discovered habits.
There's a lot of Russians out there that did some dope shit.
Bro, shout out to Russians, bro.
They did a lot of studies and experiments.
Oh yeah, especially during the Cold War, when we're just like in competition with them, and we're like, who's the smartest, or who can fucking go to the moon first.
Yeah, but so habits, and so habits, just to lay it out, we're on the same page. Habits form because you do something, and it's a solution to a problem. And just to go into the psychology, the reason why habits exist, like we as humans are very habitual creatures. The reason why is because if we had to formulate new, unique solutions to every problem in our life, we'd fucking suffer. Oh, like our lives would suck dick.
That takes so much willpower.
It takes so much energy. It's mental energy.
Mental energy.
Yeah.
And so your brain creates habits to conserve this energy so you can use it to create new habits.
Playing League of Legends, I learned that like being completely present is one thing, but the thing, playing League of Legends, what it taught me is that if you want to perform at the highest like potential of something,
yeah,
everything, it's all about forming the best habits.
Oh yeah,
it's all about forming the best habits.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and a lot of the things that hold players back from being better is their bad habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that begs the question, how do we form bad habits? Because it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, if it has a bad result, then why would your brain be trained to do it? Right? It's like,
yeah, no,
it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But that's because you don't know. That's because it's either A, is working, but in a way that you don't understand, or B, it used to work and now it's not. And so a good example is the situation that I was talking about. So you'd think that his habit of checking and seeing if she's talking to a guy, like, it doesn't make him feel better anymore. But there used to be a day, I guarantee there used to be a day in which he started feeling a little bit anxious about it. He checked, realized it was nothing, and then he felt really good.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about, and this goes into like more philosophical stuff. The thing about control and the need for control and how we feed our desire for control is that it's literally like an animal that you feed. The more you feed it, the bigger it gets, the more food it needs to grow even more. And so it gets to a point in which you aren't able to feed it what it needs to be satisfied at some point.
It's the demon in the basement, bro. It's a little version of you.
Exactly.
Now he's like,
now he's
in
big.
the house.
He used to be like, now he's like,
yeah. You're trying to go to bed, but he's fucking banging, boom, 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 boom.
Let me fucking eat. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Your fucking 2 slices of bologna you slide under the door aren't doing it anymore. He wants a fucking cat now.
Yeah, no, man. And creating that obsessive habit, right? This behavior, right? That's behavior, habit. Very similar. Different, but similar. Okay. Yeah, I think we explained.
Yeah, I think we did. So
that perspective obsessiveness.
Oh yeah, so you want to go into different perspectives of obsessiveness?
Yeah, and so I think we discussed for something that you I guess can't have. For example, the fangirl and Justin Bieber. Is that too similar? I mean,
yeah, I think it's pretty well. Okay, so I would say that the different forms of obsession, because there's an obsession. I would say that it shouldn't be described by something that you can or can't have or something like that, because I don't think obsession is exclusive to things that can be like deemed possessible. You know what I mean? Because you can obsess over your looks, and I guess you could say that like, oh, you're obsessing over a look because you can't have it. But I feel like a lot of obsession can come from like insecurity. Like people who obsess over their looks, it's because even if they look good, like that's what all they want is they want to look good.
Yeah.
Even if they already look good, they just don't believe it. Like they don't see that they look good.
Yeah. And
because
so
of their insecurities.
It's like this constant reassurance for themselves.
Exactly.
To like
and they need to constantly
compensate for whatever they're trying to push down or not
they're trying to control.
Yeah.
They're trying to control the way that people see them.
Exactly.
And so the crazy thing. So, and here's another thing. Do you know why our desire for control leads to an obsessive downward spiral? Do you know why it gets bigger and bigger and it can never be satisfied?
Yes. Because, man. Okay, I just want to hear what you got to say.
It's because we can never have it.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's because it's literally impossible. And a lot of times the only reason why we desire it is because we feel the illusion of control. right? Because you can do something and then have an outcome that you like. That doesn't mean that you controlled it though. If I apply to a job and I get accepted, I didn't control, like, I don't have control over whether a job accepts me. I just have to like do a good enough job on my resume and my application and like be presentable.
You can increase the probability of you getting higher,
but I cannot guarantee it, right?
No.
I can't make them. Maybe they throw my application out. Maybe they don't fucking like the fact that I'm black. I don't have control over it, right?
No.
And that's the thing. It's like deep down inside, you know you don't have control, but you don't want to accept the fact that you don't have control.
Yeah, man.
And so running from that exception leads you down a path. And I mean, you know, in one way, in a sense, I'm kind of repeating myself, but you know, running from that exception leads you down a path of obsessiveness for that control. But still, I'm not sold that that's the only way. That's the only form of obsession.
I'm trying to like reread the question to see if we can get a.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So another form of obsession that I'm thinking of is like, because
It's asking if it's a good thing. And,
yeah, it's a good thing. So, but that's the thing. I think there is a good kind of obsession and a bad kind of obsession.
I completely agree, right?
Yeah,
because like if you have this goal, if you know, let's say, man, I'm trying to think of an example.
Yeah, I think I get where you're going, and I agree though.
Right. I mean, if you have this goal and you understand how much willpower and how much brain power it's going to take. It's going to take like 90% of your brain power, right? You need to adjust your schedule. You need to adjust what you're doing after work, before work. And you even need to adjust how you're thinking and what you're thinking about at work. Like sometimes you need to obsess on something in order to get the goal that you want. And here's the thing. The goal... in order for obsessiveness to be good, the goal needs to be achievable.
Yeah, I think it needs to be okay. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
Because
you can't obsess over something.
Exactly. The minute you try to obsess and completely completely obsess on something that's not achievable, that's when we talk about bad obsessors.
Yes,
bad downward spiral of being obsessive.
I think you are on a fucking amazing track. I would say that because there are goal, like, what's an achievable goal, right? I feel like that's a little bit vague. I would say that there's a certain level of achievability, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like again, like if my goal is to, like, you know, get accepted to a job, it's like, yeah, like you just have to weigh out the achievability. But I think more importantly, like, I think all obsession can be good, because it's really hard to know whether you're obsessing over something that's achievable or not, or even more importantly, whether you're obsessing over something that you're going to get. Because there are things that even have like a really low likeliness of achievability, but through your obsession and perseverance, you actually get it, right? And so I think the issue with obsession is the fact that there's something that you're not able to let go. Like there's something about obsession that breeds a lack of
reality.
Yes, kind of. I feel like just a lack of comfort, a lack of like peace. I feel like you cannot be obsessed and peaceful at the same time. It's like those two like things, those two states of mind cannot coexist. And peace is important, but you know, the question is, like, should we be peaceful all the time? I don't
think so.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so either. It's like, you know, life isn't about peace.
No.
That's not what it's about, right? And so
it's about suffering and dying.
Well, you know, you know, in a way, yes. But yeah. So, fuck. Is being obsessed about something or someone a good thing? In short, no. It can be a good thing, but blanket statement, it's not a good thing. I think more often than not, it's a bad thing. I think much more often than not, it's a bad thing, but I think it can lead you to a good place.
Yeah, and I think another reason why it's also a bad thing, it's because it's almost like obsessiveness is born through fantasy and imagination.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Because through fantasies and through imaginations, this is where obsessiveness is born, right? So when you see something or someone that you look up to or that you covet, right? As soon as you covet and then you just think about these fantasies and the thing about fantasies, it's the feeling you get. People think like the fantasy is like, oh my God, having this is what's going to give me, having this Lambo is going to make me so happy. And sure, maybe you have that Lambo, it's really nice, but it's not because it's a Lambo, it's just the feeling that it brings. Right? And so fantasies have the same effect where you're attached to these feelings of these fantasies and then images project, and then this is how obsessiveness just is born, right? Because oh my gosh, this is unreal. Like it seems almost too hard to believe.
Yeah.
And then that's like, wow, like I want that.
So there's one like outlying example of obsession that I'm trying to like I'm trying to see if it fits into this kind of like idea that we're coming to about obsession. I think of someone who's obsessed with their job, or like someone who's obsessed with like learning about something. And I think about it, and it's like that's the one kind of obsession that's like I'm struggling to really see where it has the same kind of cause as like the kind of obsession about someone or something, you know.
Say that again.
Basically, so we're talking about how obsession comes from fantasy, and generally speaking, I completely fucking agree. I think most people who are obsessed, it's because they have a fantasy, an image in their head, and they want that image so fucking badly. But like, I mean, you know, that obviously the problem is it's not a real image. You just want it to be real really badly. Sorry, I'm like in the middle of like teaching myself because I'm an obsessive person.
Yeah,
like when I get into something, I usually get obsessed with it, and so I'm like kind of taking notes in my head, like shit, get that down, bro, get that down. Like this is good.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, and you know what? That's a perfect example of you're using obsessiveness in a good way, where it's like you're actually teaching yourself, and you're using obsessiveness in a way where it's like, you know what? This goal of actually teaching myself. I can use obsessiveness to help me teach myself.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So like something that I'm pretty obsessed with is like, relatively speaking, is like psychology. Like, over the past few months, like I've honestly become pretty obsessed with it, man. It's like something that I'm constantly researching, constantly looking into, constantly just I'm feeling the desire to discover new things about. And it's like really hard to look at the obsession as a negative thing, but I can still see a lot of areas in which it could be negative. Like am I trying to prove something with it, right? Because at some point it's like, when does fascination become obsession? You know, because you could be fascinated about something and just be really fascinated, but then when does fascinate? That's the question. Actually, do you know when does fascination become obsession? What's the what marks the line between fascination and obsession? I think it has to do with the control. Yeah, I feel like obsession is like you're bothered by not being somewhere. Whether it's like, you know, I'm not the me who owns that Lamborghini.
Right.
I'm not the me who is with this chick.
You're not being realistic about it. You're essentially just trying to change something that isn't achievable. And I think that's the line where it becomes obsessive when you go, okay, wow, maybe this unachievable goal is achievable, which is really interesting.
It still doesn't sit right with me, the idea of like achievable and unachievable, because it's like the things that we obsess about, they are achievable. It's not about that not being achievable. I think it's about us, whether or not, like, I think it's about, have we accepted that we might not get something out of it? Ooh.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Have we accepted that we might not get something out of it? So I think about someone who's fascinated and like they're attentive and they're engaged, but they're not like anxious.
No.
and they're not like controlling. They're just really interested.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But if someone were to, like, I think about someone who's fascinated by something. If someone were to take it away, they're not gonna fucking throw a fit. They're just gonna be like, oh, well, that was kind of cool, and they're gonna move on, right? Whereas obsession, I feel like you take someone's obsession away, they're gonna be really hostile.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe the difference is obsession comes from a place in which you haven't accepted the fact that you might not be able to get what you want. Right? Like, if you're fascinated by someone, you're interested in them. If you're obsessed with someone, you're still interested in them, but it's like a level of interest in which you haven't accepted that, like, I don't know, like I feel like there's something about acceptance. Something about acceptance and like fascination is the difference between like fascination is obsession but healthy. And I feel like someone who's fascinated by someone is the same as someone who's obsessed with someone. Fuck, what am I saying? I feel like fascination, someone who's fascinated by something, is the same as someone who's obsessed with something, but the person who's fascinated just has like a higher level of acceptance that like whatever they're working towards isn't guaranteed. I don't know. Like that's how I feel.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I guess another thing, okay, to tie into that, obsessiveness, that line that we're talking about, could also be when you start tying your identity with the obsessiveness, with the idea. For example, I remember one of our old friends or whatever said that, like, and there's this movie, I think called, like, The Big Short, when it was, like, the 2008 recession. And people killed themselves because like the stock market crashed. And like that's an example of tying your identity and tying your life to something so obsessively that controls on top of other things if you want to live or not.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's obviously like to be at that point, that means like you got nothing else but just these stocks.
I don't think it means that you have nothing else but just the stocks. I mean that I think that maybe I think that maybe they were under the impression that the stocks might that financial success might bring them to a place that they weren't in terms of like fulfillment and happiness. You know what I mean?
Right, which is implying that they have nothing but these stocks to take them there. To have nothing.
Kind of, but like I can see a man who has a family, a wife and kids.
Yeah,
and he has friends that he goes golfing with, but really though, these stocks are what he cares about. But it's not that he has nothing else. It's that maybe that he doesn't. It's just that he values this one thing so heavily, and obviously he values it because of his attachment to something, whether it's attachment to the money or attachment to the security, attachment to the ego that he can validate by buying things with the money. But it's like it's I feel like it's an attachment to something. When someone, I mean, honestly, when someone ends their life, I feel like it's because they're attached to something, which is really ironic because it's like ending your life because of an attachment. But, you know, that goes back to...
You would think that they wouldn't be attached to anything, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I guess is the reason why they do it.
I think it kind of goes back to control. It's like...
Yeah, that's a lot, honestly. There's so much that goes into that.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a lot of reasons why someone would kill themselves. But I feel like so like, okay, let me think. Yeah, like what are the main reasons why people kill themselves? I mean, someone might kill themselves over like getting bullied. Well, why is getting bullied so hurtful for them? Like what's happening to them that's so bad that they just want to end their life because of like negative attention? And like, you know, maybe it's hurting their confidence. I don't know. My brain's starting to sidetrack.
Yeah. It's being obsessed about someone or something a good thing?
I mean, the answer to the question I say is no. It's not a good thing. I think it can lead you to good places because there have been things that I've been obsessed about, and yes, it has led me to a good place. Like my obsession with psychology has led me to, you know, like really good moments in my life, where I understand something about myself or the way that I work or the way that people work, and it's a profound experience and a profound,
But
understanding.
see, like when you hit those moments of profound meaning into something that you're passionate about, were those steps fascination or obsessiveness prior to those profound things?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know what I mean? Maybe because you hit that fascination, and you tapped into that fascination so deeply, it broadened the perspective of
Okay.
being a profound experience.
Right.
Vice versa, you didn't hit a profound experience because you were obsessive and chasing something that's not there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think you're actually right. There's a cycle that happens. So like, and I'm gonna use the word enlightenment. Not that like I've actually ever been enlightened, but it's just the sentiment of like a kind of like aha moment in which you
Epiphany.
understand something and then you just feel like
Just epiphany.
an epiphany that leads to like peace, because it's more than just an epiphany. It's an epiphany that leads to like almost like contentment, like bliss. You know what I mean? Because I've had a lot
good.
of. Those are really fucking good. Yeah, man. It literally feels like momentary enlightenment. You're like, right now, in this moment,
Yeah, dude.
I am invincible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like,
In this moment, nothing can tarnish
no, that's facts.
my state of mind.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true.
Yeah, but and so what's really interesting is I actually feel like fascination leads to the enlightenment, and then I become attached to the enlightenment. I want to hold on to it. I don't want it to go away.
Yeah.
Then I become obsessed so that I can continue the enlightenment.
Yeah. Because
Because I don't want it to go away. I become attached to
Interesting.
that state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the question is could you? Okay, let's say okay, let's break this down. Let's say you had this temporary enlightenment, and then within that temporary enlightenment, you go, "Wow, this is crazy. How deep does the rabbit hole go? How deep does this rabbit hole go?"
Nah.
So what do you mean because you've been attached to that enlightenment, you want to hold on to that enlightenment?
Yeah, exactly. Because enlightenment, dude, the way I see it, you can't be enlightened and then also have the thought, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Because like, and again, it sounds so prestigious when I'm saying this. I really don't mean it.
No, I kind of know what you mean.
Yeah,
where
like,
it's,
when you're
so
in that
deep.
state of enlightenment, you're not looking for more.
No, because
it's all there. Exactly. Like you're not like, how deep does this rabbit hole go? You're like, that's a cool rabbit hole.
Even though there is more, you don't feel like the desire to
That's
go
what I'm saying.
more. Right.
You're not looking at the rabbit hole like, I wonder how deep it goes, man. I'm really curious. You're like,
No.
huh?
And
Rabbits living there.
And dude,
You're like, interesting. That's
Yeah,
pretty
dude.
cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool how rabbits can build holes like that?
yeah, dude.
Wow. It's just appreciation. It's just pure appreciation.
Gratitude, appreciation
It's
of
just-
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's observing.
Yeah.
It's purely observing
Yes,
and being
dude.
disconnected from like everything.
Those are like the best moments.
Yeah,
those are
man.
the best moments. Those are awesome, actually. I've experienced
Yeah.
multiple of those, and those are.
But seriously, I'm realizing it's being completely observant and being disattached from everything. And I believe that and I say I believe, I'm pretty sure this is a fact, but I believe that comes from a state of like presence, like a presence of mind kind of state where you're in the moment purely. Like you can't be attached to something and then also be in the moment as well. Because that thing's not in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. No,
Like,
totally.
I can't. How am I gonna worry about like what people think of me when I'm just like here and now? Like, because like that's not an actual threat to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're fine.
Yeah, it's this I want to explain this, but it's hard for me too.
It is.
I mean, I guess full circle again, it's that acceptance, right? This is how profound acceptance is, where this acceptance is able to let go of this obsessive behavior, right? This acceptance, this realization that I need to do that scares the shit out of me, or I need to do the thing that's completely contradictive of what I'm telling myself, right? We talked about this last podcast, where going and looking for those contradictions and paradoxes is the answer, right? Like, you want to do this thing? Okay, well, do the opposite, because that's going to make you accept yourself.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, you can't have this acceptance and this like obsessiveness at the same time. It's more of, it's a fascination or it's an obsessiveness. And when I'm really thinking about it, I'm realizing how different they are.
Yeah,
how on the opposite side of the
they're so
spectrum
similar, but they're so different in their root. Like they're so
they're so
similar
different in their root.
In their manifestation. I'm just fucking squirmy.
Yeah,
in their manifestation, they're so similar.
Yes,
they manifest in a very similar way. You look at someone who's fascinated with something, and you look at someone who's obsessed with something, and it's like, well, yeah, they're both just really into it.
Yeah,
but they're the cause of that, the thing that drives that, the thing that motivates that feeling is like way different.
Dude, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. We say it's so different because I think that is just that little particle of the difference between obsessiveness and fascination really shows throughout someone's character and really shows throughout their personality. And just like, if you meet someone who is fascinated and you meet someone who's obsessive, and you can make mass assumptions.
I'm just trying to think. I maybe I'm not as good at picking up on it, but I actually feel the opposite. I feel like from an external perspective, it's actually kind of hard to tell the difference between fascination and obsession, because of the fact that, because they look so similar on the outside. Really, I feel like really the biggest difference is on the inside. But I do agree with you that obsession and fascination can manifest externally and be like observable traits of someone. But I'm just, yeah, but I feel like obsession doesn't really I feel like most people don't like smell of obsession or smell of fascination.
I kind of disagree. I think I can smell it.
I think you can smell it in a given moment, but I don't think you can look at someone. Yeah. I don't think you can look at someone on the street and be like, they're obsessive.
No, absolutely not. Like, it's more of like, you have a conversation in a deep conversation with them, and you can see whether they're driven through fear or love. And so if they're driven through fear, it could be obsession, but if they're driven through love, it could be fascination.
Yeah. No, something really interesting. I've been talking a lot about, what emotions drive us, and whether or not we should let negative emotions drive our behavior. And I've
That's a good question.
I know, right? And I've kind of noticed that, I won't answer it here, but I'm just gonna talk about it. I've kind of noticed that oftentimes people who let negative emotions drive their behavior, emotions like fear of an outcome, they end up in least good places because of the fact that they don't take initiative to do something. They do it. Yeah, they don't take initiative. They're usually more of like a go with the flow, kind of like follow type person. I don't even want to say go with the flow, but like they're like a follower type person. And yeah, it's when you when I feel like okay, the differences between letting positive emotions fuel you and negative emotions fuel you. Letting positive emotions fuel your actions means that you're moving forward to something, or that you're moving from like here to here. And then letting negative emotions drive you is like you're moving from here so that you don't go here.
Yeah.
But like you don't know where you're gonna go. You just know that you're going away from here.
Right. You're choosing to be stagnant.
No. You're choosing not to be stagnant because of a fear. I feel like you're still moving, like you're still being driven. If someone, so like I was talking with my father, and we were talking about his family members. He was talking about the fact that when he moved out of his house, out of like this little town, I think it's a little town in Texas, and it was all right, but like, you know, it wasn't the safest town, and it really like there wasn't really much opportunity there. There's not much for a person in that town. So he knew that like there's just a better life for him outside of that town, and so he was the first person to just move the fuck out of the town. Like that was something that he was set on, and as soon as he turned 18, he dipped.
Nice.
So, but this wasn't because he was afraid of being stuck there. This wasn't because he was afraid of regretting that he'd live a boring life. This was because he wanted to live a more like he wanted to pursue the opportunities that he saw.
Okay.
Right? It's yeah. And so comparatively, his sisters weren't the same. They stayed in that town in Texas for many, many years longer, maybe even over a decade longer than him.
Right.
And the only reason why they ever left was one of them left because she was afraid of just being stagnant, and then the other person left because there was like some guy that she like dated, and then it got kind of dangerous, and so she just moved because like he was a threat to her. But like both of those, I feel like those are like fears, and because they moved based off of fears, it took longer for them to go somewhere positively.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's like the difference between like you're standing in a fire, and you're like, you know what? I think I'd feel better if I was like on that piece of ice. I think that'd feel a lot better for me.
Yeah.
But like the other person's like, I'm gonna wait until this fire starts burning, and then I'm gonna get up. But if you wait until it starts burning, then like you already got fucking welts on you. So
yeah, no, and God, this reminded me of another thing that we were talking about the other last episode.
We should change this podcast from "We don't exist" to "We don't sleep."
Yeah, honestly, bro. Honestly.
We're just fucking every episode. We're just like, yeah. I think, dude, I fucking forgot.
I'm just like do the intro where it's like we don't sleep. Episode 11. Hey guys, this is podcast We Don't Sleep.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. You were talking about how I'd rather go to that piece of ice than this fire, and I think that's gonna make me feel better. Or you know what? Hey, I'm just gonna sit in this fire until it starts burning, until it still starts like, you know, burning my legs off.
Yeah.
And both of those are just this avoidance of suffering, which we talked about in the last episode, right? Where it's like we're entitled to two things: suffering and death. And no matter where you go, no matter how hard it is, you're gonna suffer, right? And how do you approach something positively, or through a positive motivation, and avoid this obsessive behavior and go towards this fascinating behavior, is accepting that you're going to suffer and still going for it.
Yeah.
It's essentially like choosing your poison, but being okay with that poison because, hey, everybody has poison.
Yeah. That actually kind of goes into a different thing, which I won't take that tangent, but something I was thinking about was like risk assessment. Another big reason why someone might sit in this fire is because, well, this fire is all I know.
Yeah.
I know that like in this fire, like, you know, and like I'm gonna speak on something that I may not have the right to speak on, and like go fuck yourself because like
Nothing
this is
new.
my channel. It's like people in abusive relationships. It's like I feel like a lot of times the reason why they're in an abusive relationship and they don't leave it is because it's like, well, you know, I don't, you know, they don't know what it's like to be alone, and so they're like, you know, yeah, sure, I may get my ass beat, or like, yeah, sure, this person may make me feel like shit, but it's like, but that might be better than being alone, you know? And so it's like, well, fuck. Do I want to be alone or do I want to get my ass beat? Well, at least if I'm getting my ass beat, I still have someone. Right?
Yeah.
So
No.
it's like, you know, and so I feel like the you know, being risk averse, I feel like can also kind of lead you to being more negative emotion driven.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you could take example on people who have gotten out of abusive relationships, right? And they get to the point where they realize, wow, if I was on my own, I wouldn't be getting beat and I wouldn't be getting all this alone, because they hit a point in which they are okay with being alone, and now they're actually considering the idea of moving out and leaving this person. Because now they've accepted that, hey, you know, like, sure, it might be hard, but it's not as hard as this.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I personally don't know what it looks like for someone to make that decision.
Yeah, I don't know either, but that's just one thought experiment that I could think
theory.
about, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I just really think it's interesting because, like, you know, it's hard to imagine someone who takes a lot of risks but is driven by negative emotion, or someone who doesn't take a lot of risks, who's like really afraid of risk. Well, it's even in the fucking description. Who's like risk averse, but moves towards things. You know, when I think of someone who takes high risk, high reward, it's because they think more optimistically, right? They don't let the thought of like, well, this could happen overpower the thought of, but this could happen.
Yeah,
you know, it's like sure, you know, if I take this bigger risk, I could suffer this big consequence. But let's be honest, is it not worth it to go for the big reward?
There's a quote,
and it just depends on what you see.
There's a quote that is relating to this is success is focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're choosing to focus on that positive rather than focus on the negative.
Yeah, and you know, it's crazy. You think of someone running, right? You think of someone running. Who's going to be running faster just naturally? The person looking forward or the person looking backward?
Oh, fucking forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're looking backward, like fuck.
Like, this is facts too.
Exactly.
Like, these studies have proven this.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. But it's like, you know, it's physical. It's physically true. But it's also like, you know, like metaphorically / figuratively true.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're running away from something, you're going to go slower than if you're running towards something.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's some deep shit.
Dude, I've been saying yeah, man, so much. I've been like warping the word to like Yemen.
Yemen, yeah.
Like Yemen.
Yeah, Yemen.
Like just
Yemen.
like gonna be like my new alib or something like
Yemen.
that. Yemen.
Yemen. Yemen.
Yemen.
Yemen. Yemen.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that was a side tangent, but I just been thinking about that a lot. Yeah, man.
Dude, but when you started saying that, I was like, there's no way that was fucking candid.
No.
I was like, dude, you're memeing me right now.
No, but that was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I could see your expression. I was like, wait, that was real, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's because I'm tired.
Yeah, bro.
That's yours.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. Yes. Indeed. Male.
I think we did a good job. I'm happy with this.
Yeah. Oh, God. Sorry, guys. I know it's loud. Honestly, bro, I'm chilling on cutting this early.
Yeah, same, bro.
We are tiggity tired.
We're sleepy gamers.
We're little sleepy philosophers.
We're sleepy gamers, sleepy philosophers. We're sleepy thinkers.
So there you guys have it. Is being obsessive about someone or something a good thing? For the most part, No.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
Yeah,
no, it's
no,
not. It's not because there's a difference between
obsession comes from an unhealthy place.
Exactly. It's driven through negative emotion.
That gives me a lot to think about, man, because I'm a really obsessive person.
Yeah, we all are, man. We all have.
I don't think so. There's people who aren't obsessive.
Yeah, so you're right. I think a lot.
They have other issues though, because a lot of people, like, I think people who are prone to anxiety are more obsessive. People who are prone to depression are less obsessive.
Ooh.
They're more like passive, but they're more like dark-minded.
That's my
Nice. That was you being dark-minded.
That's my vocal and facial expression of dark-mindedness.
What is that? Is that like TV static?
No, it's more of like looking at a black screen with some like white static, and it's like shaking.
Yeah.
And it's like, and maybe there's some red eyes in the background.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of like a scary movie.
Yeah, like
when you hear that bass rumble, like the.
Ooh, yeah.
Like you watch Paranormal Activity and like.
Or like The Conjuring or something like
that. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like we should watch a scary movie together, bro.
I'm fucking down, dude.
We fucking
I'm fucking down. I miss watching Paranormal Activity. I kind of want to go through all of them.
I don't know. I don't like them.
You don't like them?
They're so lame, bro. Like I don't because okay, I'm such a movie critic, bro, and I'm just gonna critique.
Yeah, it's fucking garbage. Yeah, it's fucking garbage. What do you want? It's trash. But like, what scary movie isn't trash?
The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2.
Have I not? What the fuck? Have I seen The Conjuring?
The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 are hands down, in my opinion, the best scary movies I have ever seen. In fact, one of the best. Jigsaw is, or the, what is it called? I think it's the first Jigsaw was really good. No, not Jigsaw. I'm tripping balls, guys. Saw. The first Saw was really good, too.
Insidious.
Insidious is good, but it's not that great.
Insidious is a perfect example of what I'm talking about when I say fucking all horror movies are garbage.
No, like, dude, you have to watch The Conjuring,
I don't think
bro.
I've seen The Conjuring, actually.
Conjuring 1 and The Conjuring 2 are so good, bro. Like, they're Oh, and I don't know if you would consider this a scary movie, but the one where, like, they can't talk. And it's with, like, the aliens and shit.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called either.
A Quiet
Place?
Quiet Place. Yeah. I don't know if that's like horror, but
it's like a thriller.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a horror.
Yeah, but
it's like a scary
really
thriller.
Good. That's really good movie.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
It's Google.
Nice. Are we babies now?
It's Google, bro.
We tired thinking.
It's that Google shit.
Nice.
Yeah, bro. Anyways, guys. So no, it's not good thing to be obsessive. Because it's not coming through a place of positive emotion. It's coming through a negative emotion. And that could be about someone or something. And I think we've placed plenty of examples of what happens when you go through a life through this obsessive negative emotion.
Yeah. No, I think this has allowed me to like kind of further iron out my idea of like where obsession comes from. I feel like obsession definitely comes from a place of like, it's just about your motivation. Like, I feel like it's hard to have a healthy motivation that turns in. I feel like it's hard for obsession to be healthily motivated.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, it's
like even just thinking about it, it sounds unhealthy.
It sounds impossible to like. This is what we were talking about: being obsessive and fascinated in a sense. You can't really. You're really not at the same time. There's just like this transition point, which you don't realize when the transition happened.
Yeah, it's super unclear,
right?
because both of them is just really being interested in something.
Yeah.
Both of them is just
they have similar
heavy interest.
And what's hard to do, I think you have to look for the root, right? You have to see the
why am I
root,
doing what I'm doing?
Right? And so I think a perfect example is when you're talking about when you had those strong epiphany, strong blissful moments, those moments leading up to that moment, that enlightened moment were fascination. And then once you started like obsessing about it is when you started having a negative emotion in which you think these enlightened moments is whatever your negative emotion is. Like, I don't know why you would cling on to an enlightened moment so much. Maybe because it's a good feeling. And you want to hold on to that good feeling. I mean, and avoid the suffering.
There's so many reasons why you cling on to enlightenment. Part of like enlightenment can feed my ego, right? The idea of like me being in an enlightened state, like attaching my identity to attaching my identity to that would like build my ego, and then it would make me feel good about myself to think about the fact that like I'm enlightened or some shit like that. You know, like that. Like I've reached a place of like a mental state in which like I'm pretty much unaffected by all emotions, good and bad. Like, you know, like that. You can be egotistical about it, or you can be attached to it because of how much you fear negative emotions.
Yeah.
And that's a place of no negative emotions. So you're attached to it from a place of like despair. You know, you're desperate to not feel the negative emotions, and then when you reach that point of enlightenment, you aren't feeling it. But then you're so desperate to like make sure that like you continue to not feel the emotions. That's the interesting thing about the momentary enlightenment. It's always fucking momentary, and it's always momentary. But when you're in it, you never like. It's crazy because like when you're in it, the first thought is, "Wow, this is nice."
Yeah.
Why am I not always like this?
Yeah, dude.
And then the second thought is, oh fuck, is this gonna go away?
Yeah.
It's every single time. Every single time, it's like it creeps up on you. You're not thinking about it. And then, it's like, wait a minute, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, no, you know what? And I also do this times where it's like when something good happens in my life and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm really happy this happens. And like, you know, you get excited and you really get caught up and you're like, yeah. And you get super excited to the roof. And then I actually force myself to calm down. I force myself to like, okay, it's awesome that it happened, but hey, you're still living life. You still got other things to work on. Don't get too caught up on it because you get more disappointed when you cling on to that excitement feeling.
Yeah, so you know what? Actually, I don't agree with that. I think that there's a. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think that when you try to limit the amount of positive emotion that you feel in a given moment, because of the fact that
you're getting me wrong. I'm not limiting a positive emotion. I'm acknowledging that it will end.
Okay, but don't you kind of stop yourself from getting excited?
I did, and I need to rephrase that because I actually let that excitement simmer. I let it marinate.
Okay.
But as it's marinating, part of the enjoyment of a marinating is that I know it's going to end. And so I'm grateful that I'm experiencing this, and I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. Kind of like this exact example you were talking about, blissful moments. And it's not just even blissful, it's also excitement as well, which I guess is different. But yeah, that's what I meant. I don't mean where it's like, whoa, don't do that emotion. No, stop. Like the emotion police.
Sure. Yeah, no, it seemed like, but the reason why it seemed like you were saying that, firstly, is because you didn't actually say it, even if you didn't mean it. But it's also because I've done it many times. There's a lot of times in which I've been excited about something, and I've literally calmed myself down because of the fact that I didn't want to get so excited that, like, I didn't want to go so high that the low felt even lower.
And I've done that before too.
Yeah,
I've done that before for sure. But
like, and you know, I mean, the problem. So, I think you know the problem with it. I'm gonna say it because even though we're having a conversation. There's also, you know, so the problem with that is the fact that you're actually avoiding something. You're avoiding the downfall.
Yeah,
right?
You're avoiding the downfall.
And you know,
it's like you're trying to control the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. You're trying to control your emotions. Yeah. You're trying to control the situation. It's like, no, like don't try to control. Like if you're happy, you're happy, and then like just let yourself become less happy.
Yeah.
Right? And then like be okay with it. Like don't try to stop yourself from going down because of fear that it's not going to feel good, because like newsflash, like you're going to not feel good, and then you're going to feel good, and then you're going to not feel good, and then you're going to feel good. You're never going to be in one place for too long because that's how our brain works. It reaches homeostasis. Like it gets used to emotions. So
facts, dude.
Yeah.
Biggie facts.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
All right, guys, we're going to end it off here. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, philosophical questions, or just any questions, leave them down below. And we're going to check them out for you. We'll try to answer them. And that's going to be it for this episode. Deuces.
Bye-bye.
Bye. What?
Bro, I'll share it with you, but you're not gonna find it funny, dude.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Do you just don't want me to, or still want me to?
I mean, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So a friend sent me this GIF or this fucking meme.
No welding. Fuck you, bitch. What?
And then it's so stupid, right? It's not funny. And then I said lol, and he says emotion I could never hope to express in a single image. And then I was like, okay, that's actually kind of funny. And then he's like, dude, you have to think who made it. It's a man on Facebook posting welding memes. A man fed up with his wife's bullshit to the extent he made that meme. And then I think of a dude who's just like, fuck you, bitch. Like, it's like, okay, this is actually hilarious.
Oh my god.